Welcome back to my Legends Expanded Universe chronological timeline rating, where I go through the expanded universe according to my chronological order and rank each and every piece of individual media out of 10 stars. We are on Dawn of the Jedi Force War number 4. We are close to the end of the Dawn of the Jedi comic series. This one starts with, a little powwow, if you will, between Shea Koda and her master Quan Zhang, talking about where Zesh is gone, and Shay's like, I must save him, I must bring him back to the light. Star Wars. And so she confers with Quan Zhang about, dark and light and what it is to be a Jedi. It gets really philosophical and deep really quickly. And she confers with Tasha and Tursendin. Meanwhile, Skalnas is, sweeping through the galaxy with his fleet, but the Jedi counterattack above Tython with Rory Fenn and Hawk Rio leading the squadron that blasts through, and, they are able to defeat some of the Skalnas' ships and clear a path through. However, Skalnas and his ship makes it down to the planet with his transports, and he has with him Dagan Locke, who is currently in chains and imprisoned, and he has Zesh, who is mind-controlled and under his control again. Meanwhile, Trill uses her, force lightning power to torture all of the people they have in the pods. That I think it adds power to their ships and helps them to land quicker, and but Dagan Locke is going to be executed then by one of Skalnas' men, and he's being beaten up and prepared for death, and he begs to Zesh to help him, and Zesh just doesn't care about Dagan and just goes down to the planet. Meanwhile, Trill has been sent basically on a suicide mission. Skalnas doesn't really have need of her, so send her out to distract and kill as many Jedi as she can. But instead of dying, she literally does that. She kills as many Jedi as she can. Meanwhile, as they descend to the planet, Skalnas and Zesh, Shea Koda knows that he's going down, and she knows that she has to get to them and stop them from activating the Infinity Gate. Do you know what would be helpful right now? If Lenore Brock showed up, since she has a little bit of experience in this field, it would be helpful of her to, add some valuable information she learned from her book. But this just further shows that Lenore Brock's a jerk and is unhelpful to them. Meanwhile, Dagan Locke breaks free of his chains as he is abandoned behind. And what's going to happen there? Well, we cut away to Seknos, who breaks out of his pod using the Force, and he just tears apart the Rakatans guarding him and with the Force, and grabs their Force pike and stabs them apart. And then he releases all of the other prisoners, and they steal Force pikes, and they're blazing through the Rakatan forces there. Meanwhile, Tasha is conferring with the Qua holocron again with Tursendin, and trying to figure out what's going on there. And then it cuts back to Dagan Locke. And what's Dagan Locke doing? He's still in chains. He's somewhat free of them. He's free of the ones that were around his legs, and he takes this opportunity to decapitate as many Rakatans as he can, steal a Force pike, and he is blazing through them. This reminded me of Ganner Rysod's Last Stand, which we'll get to way later in New Jedi Order, because he's up on a hill and the bodies are just piling out around him. But he slowly gets overwhelmed. He's not Ganner Rysod, and Seknos steps in to help him, and Seknos and Dagan take on the Rakatans there, and then Seknos has this funny line where he says he's looking for Zesh, and Dagan's like, why? And Seknos is like, I want to kill him, and Dagan's like, get in line, because they both want to kill Zesh, or Tau, or whatever his actual real name is. And so they're fighting there, more fighting, more killing of Rakatans, and Seknos has a face-off against Shay Koda, who's there, and they're both angry at each other because Shay isn't seeing eye to eye with Seknos, and Seknos isn't seeing eye to eye with Shay. They've got very angry facial expressions for each other and exchange words harshly, and then she grabs onto her dragon rancor to fly down to find Zesh, or I'm just going to keep calling him Zesh. Tau is a stupid name. So she's going down to find Zesh, and Dagon jumps onto the dragon rancor because he's got to find Zesh too. But Shay doesn't know that Dagon wants to kill Zesh, but he claims to be there to help her. So now they're descending into the chasm on Tython, down to where the gates are, going after Zesh and Skalnus, fulfilling the vision of Dagon going down the chasm one day. So where it started with Shay falling down the chasm herself in the very first issue, we're going full circle. Now she's going down there on purpose with the new Dragon Rancor and with Dagon Locke to find Zesh, and that's where the issue ends, setting up what is sure to be an exciting conclusion. Another solid issue. I really don't like where they took Seknos' character. Seknos Wrath was my favorite character. He's a Sith species, which they just look so cool. And he was kind of a quippy, kind of fun, lighthearted character, good fighter, cool character visually. I really liked his characterization. And then they just kind of flipped it in this last arc, which I'm not sure why that was. I think that if Force War had continued, or if Dawn of the Jedi, the comic series, had continued, it would have been the Jedi pitted up against the first kind of incarnation of dark side followers, maybe the first Sith, if you will. Maybe if they ever came back to it, they could call it Dawn of the Sith and have it focus on Dagon Locke and Seknos Wrath and Trill and their organization following the dark side. And then it could also show how the Jedi are going more light instead of a balance between. That's probably where the story would have progressed had it continued. But since it just ended abruptly, it feels like a weird spot to put Seknos' character in. Because now he is angry and filled with hate. So I didn't like really what they did with Seknos' character. But it's another solid issue. Solid 5 of 10. Another 5 of 10. Art stands out again. Something I haven't mentioned every time I mention the art is the colors really pop in this one, because sometimes coloring is what can make or break a comic, like Dark Empire comics. The colors are very distinctive in that, and people either love it or hate it. I love the Dark Empire art style with the colors used there, but the colors here are really vibrant and really pop, and they're really used very well, and you really see that with all the bright blasts of energy in this issue. So another solid issue. But what about you guys? What did you think of this issue?